Good afternoon, or morning, or nighttime, or whatever it is, wherever you are.
It is everything to all of us.
Everything all at once. I think that's what that film was about. It was about living in New Zealand, I think, and then everyone else going, what day is it?
Yeah, Craig, your volume's a little low.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'll check that out now.
So I've turned my ear up.
Okay.
How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay,
yes.
Cool.
That's
wonderful.
Better.
Okay, terrific. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and I have a special introduction for you. Richard, what are you enjoying? I'm having an iced tea, but it looks like, with the jacket, it looks like just pure whiskey. So, and you have a similar thing, too.
It does. I was wondering. This does look like a Bloody Mary, but sadly, it's a Virgin Mary.
Virgins.
Some say a bloody shame.
Well, I guess we can answer the question, are there any virgins here? And there is one, but Richard's consuming it, so, I mean, the crowd doesn't have to do it. Well, hot patootie and bless my soul. On this episode, we have carte blanche with two superheroes who are about to rose tint our world as we talk about the strange journey of the Rocky Horror Show and the attendant cultural phenomenon that touched me, you, and millions of others. So, come up to the lab and see what's on the slab and open your heart to two smooth operators, Richard O'Brien and Linus O'Brien.
Well, that's going to be hard to live up to.
Well, thank you. That's what I try. I like to unnerve people at the beginning.
Yeah, good. Well, you've succeeded.
Well, thank you very much. Well, first off, I have to say what a fabulous and touching and also rather comprehensive film Strange Journey is, particularly as the running time isn't, the Eagles documentary length. Mm-hmm. And the emotional impact is right there from the beginning. Something, right. I think is only really possible because of your relationships.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
There's a gentleness to it, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
I find it unfolds in a kind of gentle way, and I think that's and it relaxes the viewer in very nicely. It's not a lot of biopics are about trying to tell us how exciting this event was. What I mean, and it's not about that. They overplay as if it's the piece itself is important. Mm-hmm. The piece isn't important. It is what it is. It's a work of juvenilia, the piece, and we all know it, and that's part of the joy as well. Because it's become more than that. It's become more than it should have become, mm-hmm. and that's fascinating. Even in deeply intellectual terms, it's become more than it deserves. And you could argue that it's the most important piece of theatre ever to come out of the Royal Court Theatre, because that's what they were trying to do was get theatre with social impact. Well, this was a piece of entertainment. We had no idea that we'd have this social impact. And that in itself is just another joy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. The pieces, I imagine, that were put in at the Royal Court Theatre with the intent of providing some kind of really earnest, powerful piece, maybe didn't make it that far.
Their intentions were good, but you can always... If you get bogged down with selling a message, it turns into agitprop and becomes we've seen a lot of fringe theatre that's gone down that road. I could tell you. Let me tell you about my first period. That kind of. It's more difficult. And actually, another interesting thing, if we're talking, we're going to talk about. Wait, do you want to talk about the documentary or Rocky?
No. See, we are talking about the documentary, which is great because I don't want to be too perfunctory.
Let me take a back seat then. Over to you, Linus. No, I'm sorry, darling boy.
I'm saying you're.
Continue. What you were saying?
It's all about me.
Well, in a way, it is actually, and from where it sprang. But what you were saying is actually very. Appropriate for the documentary, and because it's elaborating on some themes that are there, and it's also not a perfunctory now. And then in this scene, you did this, and then you talked to fill in the blank. So, if we could continue, but now we've all disrupted it. So, one thing I will say about people who you have in this that was remarkable to me, because as fond and aware of not just the diversity of sexual proclivities that this film has enabled people to embrace. You have Jack Black talking about Meatloaf, the ostensibly straight character. I mean, if you just take Meatloaf as the general context of Meatloaf into it. And I don't think I ever thought, someone looked at Meatloaf and said, that's like me, and I'm sexual, and I'm like that because I was a heavy kid and I saw Frankenfurter, et cetera. And so, it's like, I want to be that. And I remember a friend saying, what? Because it was so unlike my type. Mm-hmm. But I do want to get, but sorry, I'm a little all over the place because my road.
You were making some kind of sense there, because I've never thought about it from that angle either until now. But that's one of the things that Jim did with the movie was introduce the Transylvanians, and along with Meatloaf being the way he was, a big boy. And those various something hugely different shapes and sizes amongst the Transylvanians, that the movie became open to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
I think one thing it also makes clear is that we're all freaks, doesn't it? We're all freaks.
Yes, we are.
And I had a real visual moment when we were doing the movie, and they were doing a photograph. They were rehearsing the Time Warp with Brad and Janet, and they said, and I went into this room where all the Transylvanians were standing, with Barry and Susan standing in the middle of them, and Susan and Barry looked odd. I'd never thought of them, but they looked odd. Yeah. And I thought, we're all fucking freaks, aren't we? Mm-hmm. No matter what we look like, we're all freaks, one way or another.
And it's all contextual, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. It's all relative.
It is. And when you in the film, when it gets into the essence of how the film became a place for people who felt like this, or who felt like themselves when at this, found other people to be with that were like themselves in that way. Thus, someone else, maybe, I remember the story about Tim Curry walking in because he lived a block away, and they didn't believe he was Tim Curry. He was dressed too straight. So It doesn't matter who you are. And if you go into the wrong context, you ain't in the right place.
Yes, absolutely.
And something with that I was really always captivated by in your interviews, Richard, through the years, and most recently, it's in the film, I believe, but I also had just watched the Evening with Richard O'Brien program, which you sourced material from, is the part where you talk about at 6 years old, when you said you wanted to be the fairy princess, you gauged the reaction, you could feel it instantly, and then you said, I'm paraphrasing, the shutters went down. Yeah. And then you felt like you had to be behind.
Well, it's I think one way or another we've all experienced a moment not dissimilar. And the problem is if it could have been, if you were allowed to say it without that
stigma.
I might call it contempt, but it's whatever it is. I think we all, one way or another, we've had that. I mean, made to feel that we better shut our mouths, but it's not healthy because you live with your thoughts, and there's no one to talk to, there's nowhere to unload it, and that's not healthy. And I think it's affected all my relationships. I think it's made me an absolute cunt from time to time, with my children even. And it's not good. It's because there's nowhere to go with it. And by the time you've learned to manage, and I'm not into psychoanalysis in a big way. It's a kind of almost a science, but it's not quite quasi-science. But he said we never really grow up. We just learn how to behave in public. And I think there's a great deal of sense to that. But anyway, now you see, we're having this conversation now, and it's good. And it's nice for me to have it. It's healthy for me to have it. And it's healthy for society for us to have this conversation. My daughter and Linus's sister, Amelia, her little boy, she doesn't give a fuck if he wants to hold dolls or anything. Let him be, enjoy himself.
There's a film I recommend, I think both of you would enjoy, called Little Girl. It's a French film, and I was taken to it at a French film festival, and I had no idea anything about it. So I thought that it was a fiction film until about 15 minutes in. I said, well, this is so powerful. They're making such an amazing point. And then when it dawned on me that it was a documentary about two parents who struggled with the idea of their, I think, 8, 9-year-old, maybe 10-year-old son expressing similar things to what how you felt. And then when I realized it was a documentary, it was 10 times more powerful. Even going into it with all the knowledge, it's something that I wish every member of, especially the government, would watch, and maybe, hopefully, that would.
Yes, I wish families would talk to each other, but we're all muddling through. We're all getting left behind, actually, truthfully, intellectually, and emotionally, and socially. It's all falling apart with Donald Trump in the White House, and that madness that goes with that. I don't. It's terrifying at the moment to watch democracy die.
Yes,
and fall to these terrible people. It depresses me on a daily basis. So I don't know where we go, but it is healthy to talk about it, and we have to keep speaking up. We have to keep waving the rainbow banner and making sure that we go down fighting, I suppose.
Well, and also the fact that I know you all get the question a lot about, did you ever imagine 50 years from now, which who could ever imagine anything happening 50 years from now? But I think it's remarkable that 50 years later, throughout that entire time, Rocky has never been quaint, no matter what the mores of the day are. But now it's even more transgressive and needed, especially for people to connect. But back to what you were saying about being a cunt to people, around the time of that evening with Richard O'Brien, you said something about a certain number of years before that you came to an acceptance. And then in the film, Linus, it's addressed that it was a conversation with Richard that was sort of the watershed moment, or at least, condensed into that. And I was curious, what around that time period, what was that like beforehand for you, Linus, and what you would necessarily maybe have seen with your folks, maybe grappling?
I mean, it was a struggle to see my dad be frustrated that he couldn't be himself. At the time, I didn't know that was the case and that he was struggling in that regard. But after he kind of came to terms with himself, I think it was around, if I'm not mistaken, Dad, the time you had the interview with Kate McKenzie, or maybe just after, just before Kate McKenzie. He was going through a particularly bad time, and I've
owned up to it. I remember the first time I wore a dress, and Brian Thompson, the set designer, went, "Oh, out of the closet," he went. I said, I may well have been in the closet, but the door was wide open. I remember when I think I talked to I came out to New Zealand once, and the press got me out here, and we got it. And I said to a journalist here, I'm a transsexual. I'm in between some. I don't know how it works. So somehow on a continuum between hardwired, female, hardwired, male. I'm somewhere in the middle there. I don't. And my mother got hold of this piece. And she was going, "No, you're not. No, you're not." And going on. I said, "But Mother, don't you? Last summer at the barbecue at Rob's, what was I wearing? What was I wearing? Makeup? Yes. Earrings? Yes." Come on.
I had a funny exchange with my mom earlier. I had sleep disruption last night. I'm bipolar too. So I got a whole system, everyone has something, your knee might not work so great and you get used to putting the brace on. And so I explained, well, I take a little Xanax and I'll have something sweet and fall on one and fall on. She said, "Well, dear, maybe it's just stress." And I said, No. And it was sort of that thing where I said, No, it's not what I ate. And it's not the clothes I wear today. It's that I'm bipolar, and that's just how it is. But yes. But much like before I got diagnosed, you'd have ups and downs and not know where they were coming from. When you said that you were a cunt to people, which is kind of hard to imagine given your general, let's say, genial, jovial, and delightful demeanor when talking to folks. How would you describe that? How would you describe a little, if you could elaborate on when you were in that way of feeling not great and then therefore not being great to be around?
I don't know. Linus remembers the time I stepped off the abyss, and about 2004, somewhere around there, and I couldn't see any surface. I looked at the rest of the world and saw it fucking insane. People are killing each other. Men with beards telling children to strap bombs to themselves and go and live with Allah. And shit. Yet the world seemed so mad and unkind and cruel. I couldn't see any way out, and my heart used to beat. I had a feeling of that I'm going to get found out. I'm at the frailty of life, and heart. I thought I was going to wake the neighbours up. My heart was beating so loud in bed some nights, and I went to Linus. I had a conversation with Linus, and he said, "Dad, we love you. Don't you? What doesn't matter? Our love is unconditional." Excuse me, I'm getting upset now.
Oh, damn.
And
no, please don't. Listen, I'm a big crier. Let me put it out.
Okay.
I'm a big crier. I cried during Rocky Horror Picture Show. I cried during the documentary. I'll cry now too, just to make everything,
Yeah, so it was about that time where we had a really lovely conversation, and it was just, to be able to be there for your parent, for your father, after he's been there for me all these years. It's a blessing, right? Many people don't get that opportunity to connect with their parents in that way, and so to have helped him in any short way was very pleasing for me, that I could help him in some small way.
Yeah.
And it is often something that we I'm sorry, Richard. We'll move off this in a moment, but
it's okay. I've controlled my emotion.
Yes, had a refreshing taste of Virgin Mary, and you've worn the dark glasses, so But
absolutely,
I find that remarkable as well. In that, as kids, sometimes we don't see that we can provide some kind of emotional support or succor or what have you for our folks, particularly with you and your dad, which is something made clear. Possibly, maybe it's subtextual, but that Richard and your mom Kimmy, am I correct?
Yeah,
were there for you, and you're very well balanced. When I've heard you asked about how was your reaction to gay people, etc., and the household that you described was one that was very loving and supportive and welcoming in general. So that's what I inferred, that you, for whatever storms you might be going through personally, they were always sort of softened by your folks.
We never mixed with the far right. We never mixed with unkind people. Yeah. I think all our friends were probably, if you're going to put them in political arena, you'd say centre, but mostly centre left, and liberal Democrats, very liberal in many ways.
Sensible. They're exchangeable words. Yeah.
Yes. Nice people is the answer. Never let a arsehole through the front door is the clue, isn't it?
Yeah, no, well, especially the far right. That's just keep on moving, folks. You kind of grew up in tandem with the show because you mentioned doing lights, and Richard, you had mentioned that you had put this endeavor in motion when you thought this is my last gasp at this, or getting a proper job. So it's only a couple year variance, really, between you.
Yeah,
and,
not even, probably like 8 months or something like that. From when I was born to when Rocky made its debut, something like that. I can't remember.
Right, so you've lived it all your life, and to the aspect of the supportive family and connectivity that you clearly have and have had, that Richard, you never let the show business get in the way, as so many times can happen.
I'm not really a show business person, oddly. I don't know. It's a part of my life, but it wasn't not all of my life, and I never intended to be a writer in the first place. And I don't see really Rocky. I look at Rocky as more. I talked to someone yesterday. It's more decoupage It's of words and pieces put together, lumps and lumps, somehow or other. A song, some of them were in the drawer already, you see. I got it. How do I do that? That's it's a scissors and paste job. And there's a lot of it went together in that kind of manner. So I never knew what I was going to be. I was riding horses in movies before I decided to go onto the stage or anything like that. And I enjoy singing. I love writing songs, and I think probably if I've got any strengths, it's probably writing lyrics.
Yeah, if you've got any strengths, the creator, writer, and actor and all, come on. Well, I've noticed it's very charming. You're very, very humble about your work, and
I think I have every right to be.
I've worked hard to be this humble. Have you seen my work? No. To what you said about the decoupage aspect, and I think it's Tim in the film who says pastiche, but it's also something of its own. It's on its own. And there's old papers that are found in the archives, and when I first saw them flashed on screen, I thought, I'm going to have to go back and pause this because I saw something about B-movie aesthetic. Because often is mentioned in the film and in other interviews about the B-movie aesthetic in so many words, informing the show. And I really think that you, Richard, are probably one of the first people to find the essence of that as its own specific thing. Because any film fan, let's say exploitation films, or Tarantino talks about it in some ways in other fashions, and is also, some people would say, a pastiche artist, but makes his own piece. And you did that using elements that would be, as I think maybe Jim Sharman mentioned, like highbrow and lowbrow. But you made, really, in my estimation, a highbrow piece that can be enjoyed as a lowbrow piece out of pieces of ostensibly lowbrow culture, and rock and roll, etc.
I know where you're coming from. I think probably the explanation for that success in your eyes is the fact that it is a piece of a pastiche and a juvenile piece, but we play it as if it's the most serious piece of theatre ever written, and never comment on it, never nudge the audience, never say we're in on the joke or anything like that. And consequently, because the joy of the B-movies for the comedy, for me, that made me want to write this in the first place, is that they became unintentionally funny because nobody really wanted to be in a B-movie, but and so they acted the clunky dialogue with as much sincerity as they possibly could, and by default, it became funny.
Linus, you had mentioned your desire for Richard to go back in the studio and do the whole score acoustically. Mm-hmm. And I'd love to know if there's maybe a possibility of an archive project, Richard, of the material that you wrote through the years for the projected or planned sequels, and also how like the Rocky shows his heels material became shock treatment material, and all of that.
What I hope my dad would do, even because he's playing the guitar not very well these days. His hands has an issue with. So what I would like to do is have him sing the songs with a guitarist. And because I meant to tell you about this privately, Dad, as well. There's not a day to go by where everyone doesn't request acoustic versions of not only the Rocky songs, but other songs you've written in your career, Shock Treatment. They'd love you to record as much as you could acoustically. With you just singing. So have a think about that, because people would absolutely love it. So maybe go up to the studio with your friend up the road and see if you could do something in the new year. It would be, I don't know, there's a real desire for people to hear your voice and your songs.
Well, that's very kind of you, Donnie. That's really nice. And I'm lucky that the voice is still there. The throat's all right, Mm-hmm. But the thumbs are arthritic.
Yeah. Right. So give it some thought. We don't need to answer it.
I will. I'll give it some thought. It sounds like work to me.
Yeah. Well, I think the trick to do it is to make it not work. So, go up there, have a couple of drinks, sing 2 or 3 of the songs, and then go away, and then do the same thing a few days later. So it's not work. It's fun. That would be the idea.
Yeah, I have to get together with you. I know that I've got some lovely musicians here that they would certainly make this. We can make this a possibility with no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
We'd have to get a list of songs.
Yeah, that would be the fun part.
I was wanting. What I really wanted to do, truthfully, if I was going to go down that lane, I was going to get a little jazz quartet together. We have one of the most wonderful jazz pianists in this country, that I know. And I met a sax player the other night who was to die for. I wouldn't mind singing some jazz standards, you see, just with them. That would be nice.
Well, let's talk about it when I come over next time.
Okay.
I'm excited to hear future news on that, and also if there's any kind of demo archive for all the material that you've demoed, because the fragments I've heard over the years, with the charm of songs that are very elaborately produced, with you doing the 3/4 chords, it's all in there. So anyway, that's my humble request.
They go a long way, don't they? That's another thing for rock. It's proof that 3 chords go a fucking long way.
And you got an idea, and we're off to the races. I was curious if you ever, Richard, had difficulty accepting the love that people have and how much it means to them. We see in the documentary the beautiful reaction that you have to Linus reading some of the many, probably thousands of comments from YouTube on "I'm Going Home."
I've really never let it get to me. For some reason or other, I'm very reluctant to accept people being good to me. I don't think I've deserved it. I guess when you get right down to it, I wasn't very good at. I didn't, So now, anyway, yes, I didn't know, but I do now. Thank you.
Well, yeah, because I've always been curious about when it's such a tidal wave of something. I mean, the enormity of people's love, and how it's always tied into an emotional thing. It's not like, "Hey, that was great, you funny guy." There's emotional weight, which is a lot to deal with, I imagine.
Yeah. How do you carry someone saying, "If it wasn't for Rocky Horror, I wouldn't be alive today," and being told that over and over again? And then realizing that if it's 3 generations of fans, that you're looking maybe in the 6 figures of people who have that feeling, it becomes overwhelming. I completely understand why my dad has a hard time taking that on board, because I think it is a lot to take on board. And what do you do? What do you then do with that information? You could let it get to you, and you'd have a moment where it would be overwhelming, and then you have to get back to your daily life. You can't dwell on that kind of stuff. But at the same time, how wonderful to be a part of something that has tangibly saved the lives of that many people. It's a blessing, isn't it, to be alive, and it's a blessing to have helped people in any small way. So, yeah, I think it's a gift. At the end of the day, Rocky's a gift to the people who love it and to the people that have made it.
Yes, it's a happy. It is a happy one. One of the nicest things about a Rocky live concert, I call it a concert because it is a concert show in a way. Because I don't know, it has that extra kind of bit to it. But the audiences, once again, are going to be rainbow banner people. They're going to be, center, politics and good people who like each other.
Yeah.
We know, and they come. The other thing is they come ready to have a good time, and they bring that energy into the theatre with them. And what a joy to play to every night, when audiences like that.
Well, what was the period between it flopping at the box office and 20th Century Fox sort of writing it off, and it's slowly building a midnight presence, and before you were asked about doing a sequel, etc.? Would you mind describing roughly what that period was like?
I was sanguine, I think, would say. Yes, that was it. As the last conversation I had with Tim was on 44th Street in New York City, and I said, "That looks like it, then, doesn't it, Tim?" And he said, "Yes, but hasn't it been a great 3 years? What a great ride for 3 years." And I went, "Yes, absolutely." And so it made no difference, really. onward we go, and other things will happen.
I think I was fascinated with that too, because I've been thinking a lot. I'm turning 50 in February. So just thinking back about all the different eras and how, life is just a series of eras, but you don't know when they're going to end or when they're going to change, but you do feel it most of the time.
It is fascinating, isn't it, this 50 years? It is absolutely fascinating, and not only in Great Britain, but all right over through Europe. And it's quite astonishing. I wonder how it would be taken in Soviet countries. I often wondered how that would go, how it would work in the countries that were repressed. And I think it would probably be a very hot ticket, quite frankly, but it wouldn't be on for very long.
Yeah, it'd be like those Velvet Underground records pressed on old X-rays. It'd just be slipped from one place to the next. I think it would be a smash because, again, we're all freaks and we're all people. So it would, particularly with the repression. Which,
yes, I think so.
For those who don't know, Richard did not really get a wonderful deal in terms of the money for the movie. That might be too gentle of a way to put it, but
I think Whoopi Goldberg did a sketch on the situation. Sure, we're going to take care of you, Bob.
Oh yeah. Hey, don't worry about it. Checks in the mail.
Let me unzip.
Given the deal that you got, I was hoping that with all the clips from the film owned by 20th Century Fox and Michael White and Lou Adler, that they gave you either a really good deal or just for free. I feel like that would have been the right way to do it.
Disney were actually very nice because the producers Adam Gibbs and Garrett Price had worked with them on numerous other projects, so they were very nice with their deal. And everyone was very supportive throughout it. It wasn't for free, but we weren't asking for it to be free. And so
I was hoping like a Christmas gift kind of thing. Just we know what happened here. Just you kids.
Bob Iger's not looking to give me a present, or anyone else.
And if it's quite, an additional promo gift. But again, with the filmmaking and the archive plumbing, I love that the clip of Michael Stipe is in there, and I think it's right around the time it talked.
Do you know about that, Dad? So in the movie, in the documentary, there's a scene of a group of people dressed up as the cast members from Rocky, and there's a Frankenfurter there, and he goes, "Oh, this is a really great movie. We're all quite normal."
This is an excellent movie. It really is, and we're all quite normal, really.
Now, if you had to prove that, how would you go about doing that? I mean, on the spur of the moment.
Show up tomorrow afternoon, dressed in our little KC pig shirts and blue jeans.
That'd be normal.
Yeah, I guess for the normal St. Louis KC fan, yes, it would.
And that man is Michael Stipe, the lead singer of REM.
Oh, good heavens!
Yeah,
okay.
And so it's like this little.
I think Bon Jovi used to go online. So it got told me he used to stand online too when he was a kid.
Right. Yeah. So we got that little Easter egg in there.
Because I think in addition to the accepting of oneself that has come from the film, which I mean, that's an incredible thing to have so many people do that. I think musically as well, it opened up a lot of people's minds. So despite if you want to say the basic or simple nature of the thing, it's the essence of glam rock.
It's 70s rock and roll fused with 50s rock and roll at the end of the day.
It's all I was capable of, and luckily, Richard Hartley was about the same age as me, but a bit younger. But we nourished the same hit parade. We loved the same hit parade, and we loved all that music. So we were able to approach it in a pop fashion, and not as a musical. They're not songs from a musical, but they're directly from the Brill Building, aren't they? And that's again adds to its unique status in the world of musicals. Of the musical, Grease is a parody and falls flat on its face because of that issue, you may as well just sing "Let's Go C A minor A minor F F up to G." It's not right.
yeah. Sha Na Na is quite a different thing than Hot Patootie. Yeah. What sort of music do you
Sean
like
and
to...
I were good. Sean and I were terribly good for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I saw Sharon and I live at the Roundhouse in London.
Wow.
And the introduction voice was great because it went greased and ready to kick ass. Sharon, no. And you go, oh, yes, that'll do.
That's an amazing venue to see them in. So I'm in Massachusetts now, but we'll be in London full-time soon. And I've been there and I've seen quite heavy things at the Roundhouse. So Sean and I at the Roundhouse is quite special. But the venues in London are as well. Did you have any favorite haunts, say around the time of the Royal Court, or actually even better, around the time where in the film you described it as sort of everything becoming Technicolor?
Yes, it was the 60s. I was very lucky in the 60s because I was a free spirit, and I didn't need much money to exist. I was ready to do any job what thrown up, as long as it didn't involve me having to think too much or become emotionally or politically involved in the structure of what I was being paid for. So, casual work suited me fine. I was a writer, and I met a chap that went to drama school, decided to go to drama school, which was one of those, it was supposed to be on the Actors Studio in New York, based upon those principles. But of course, it wasn't really. I think I'm perhaps the only person to have achieved any sort of, and maybe even got a job afterwards, quite frankly, from that particular. It was a bit like Trump University, I think, not dissimilar. But I met some very nice people there, and I started writing songs with a chap that went to school with George Harrison, Arthur Kelly, and myself, and I met the biggest model, the most famous British model at that time was a girl called Jean Shrimpton, and her sister was at the same class with us, and she's a dear friend still to this day. And Chrissie, of course, gave me entree into the rockabilly kind of London hippie scene, and introduced me to a jazz cigarette, quite frankly, and I never looked back.
Yes, it's hard to, once you discover the jazz cigarette. Chrissie provides such an incredible moment in the documentary.
In the early days, he didn't cross-dress because it just wouldn't have happened. I can remember when, he must have come out to Jane and he was giving me a lift somewhere, and he said, if I decided to change sex, would you still be my friend? And I thought, well, yeah, I would be, because I'm your friend. And he said, why doesn't my wife understand that? And I said, well, it's quite different. I can't give you that opinion. It's quite different. So I think that sort of struggle to be accepted on both levels of himself, and he did tell me once that he'd been born that way and he wished he hadn't, because it had been so difficult for him. And he has paved the way for it to open the door for many people who must have been suffering in that way.
It was important for me to have Chrissie in there. I think my producers at the time were wondering why she was there, but I knew that she probably knows my dad in ways better than anyone else, better than, the rest of our family and his extended family and other friends, because she was there at a really pivotal time in his life and very close to him and supportive of him. So to have her in the documentary was, very, very important. And it proved to be as well, because she spoke to things that no one else could, really.
Yes, I directed her in her first scene, which was a scene from Suddenly Last Summer, as I recall.
Oh, wow.
Right.
I just thought I'd throw that into the conversation.
Oh, please. Yeah. No, I love that. Throw anything in. I'm fascinated with that era as well. I'm friends with Michael DeBar, and both of you had interactions with Robert Stigwood, which apparently everyone in London in the 60s did.
Yes.
And you with Paul Nicholas, who I'm fascinated with. I'm not sure if you have any...
Paul was around, wasn't he? A lot.
Paul, yeah, I like Paul. He was the lead in Hair. He was playing Claude in Hair, a favourite of Stiggy's. Yes, a very close friend of Robert Stigwood's. Hair was an interesting moment in time too. There was a musical that just captured a really brief moment in time, didn't it? And it doesn't. The book doesn't hold up anymore. Berger comes off as a completely self-centered arsehole and misogynistic. Claude is a bit wishy-washy. But the score is fabulous, isn't it? McDermott's score. It just is a really, really great score. I was lucky enough to see. I was lucky enough to see a production done on Shaftesbury Avenue. Cameron McIntosh brought it in for 2 weeks, I think, from America. And this is cripes. This is at least 20 years ago. Yes, at least 15 or 20 years ago. And it was there that I, discovered just how lame the book was, and how wonderful wonderful the score was. And McDermott's son was actually the band leader on that night, which was very lovely.
Yeah, I have to revisit the film because I haven't seen that theater. I think the first theater show I saw actually was the Broadway tour of Tommy by The Who. And then, of course, I've seen Rocky Horror Show, but the film was my first entree into that. Matter of fact, it was a bootleg cassette of the audience participation when I was at camp, and I was like, I gotta get this somehow. So anyway, eventually I did, and it's wonderful that it's now available to everyone all the time. And I personally like watching it in both ways, by myself or with the crowd. It's a completely different experience. Would you mind if I asked a few shock treatment questions?
Yeah, okay.
There was an interview that I heard from you in maybe the early 80s where you seemed rather down on it and said that you considered it an abortion. I think it's a fabulous work, despite the compromises that you had to make, which I actually think made it into this incredibly prescient work that, when reviewing some notes and little bits I found on the internet, were actually there anyway in what you had put in there about television becoming as important to a family, if not more so.
I thought we were well ahead of on two issues really. The one that first struck me was when the Spice Girls came on the scene, and I was in Australia, I think, at the time, and this song came out. I tell you what I want, what I really, really want, what I want, what I want, what I really, really want. And I thought that's the Janet from Shock Treatment, isn't it? Really, that's the mission. That's what the obsession, live the dream kind of idea, and this self, me. It's all about me. Was I thought we caught that me generation, that selfish I want it, live the dream. I thought we got that ahead of the curve on that, but I had no idea we were going to what did we call this? Social media television was going to take place. Big Brother was the first one, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand how that worked. I think we handled the issue better than the Truman Show, quite frankly, because that was a cruel reality. When he woke up and everybody else had been fucking him over.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Everyone was conspiring, whereas there was a sort of a group psychosis that indent in the television station, which represents America, as the first film does as well. And I think it is better because everyone is cruel in that. It's like, well, yeah, but we really like watching them.
There was a lot of good things about that piece, but it just the story, the plot line is wanting. It doesn't really stitch up. It doesn't tie. It doesn't explain itself, and as clearly as it should be, as it should do. It's really imperative that in storytelling that you leave the reader satisfied, and I don't feel that I did that. However, the songs are good. The camera work is terribly good. I have to say, that may seem silly, but the costumes are fabulous. That audience, they're all local London people. Some chums and others extras, but just, Londoners. And when they went into the commissary, Jessica came and she said, I thought there was a bus tour. I thought a bus tour had just got off.
I got to have her on the show, and she related what a wonderful time she had working on it, in particular with you. But to the matter of whether or not it communicates, and of course you're the author, so you're going to see it in a totally different way. But from my perspective, it does communicate that quite clearly, particularly in the way where you have to infer some things. But Farley Flavors is a Trump type of situation, and and it has that sort of Great Gatsby aspect to him, but then it's much worse because of the overall control, which is what we're kind of seeing now. And of course, Linus, you're in the ad at the beginning.
We do. I do. Someone has approached us. Someone in London has approached us to actually have another look at shock treatment with from exactly the same point of view that you're talking about, with bringing it into the Trump world and making sense of it. And I wish them luck on that. If they can make it any better in any sense, I'll be delighted.
Well, I'm very excited about that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. That's what I have to say.
There's a new project of yours that I'm quite curious about, which is related, really, the Kingdom of Bling.
Mm-hmm. That's a satirical fairy tale in verse, in the same sense as it's Alice in Wonderlandy, Peter and the Wolfish. It's under milk woody kind of journey, and it was once again it's two children going off. Their father's a journalist, a missing journalist, and their mother sings them a song before they go to bed, and they go to sleep and go into a shared dream, and go into a world where they meet Trump basically, and Mr. Fox, who was his enabler, and that's it really. I don't think it's a great piece, but it's entertaining, and it was meant to be. It was written before this last election, and we were hoped that we would be on the side of right, and he wouldn't get in again, because the last words of the children saying "never again, never again." Yeah. But unfortunately, he did get in again. It's a good piece. We're trying to do it as an animated, stop motion animated piece. Get some money up and do that. I'm supposed to be putting some songs together, and so that we could put a little collection of some of the action against music. But I'm lazy.
Well, it's funny that all the projects that we've talked about, each one of them, you said, it's pretty good. It's not great. Well, others would disagree with that. So very excited to see further progress on all of the things we talked about. Also with that is a commentary on society. And even if it was unintentional, I've thought about this a lot with your material, particularly what I read previously about shock treatment. Sometimes the unintentional or the restrictions do produce this other thing, but depending on who the artist is. So with you, these things are sort of squeezed out like diamonds, if you will, and that's contributed to by circumstances and so on.
I don't know what to say to that. You make me feel very humble. I feel I'm going to get found out at any time. That's what I would feel.
I see. I'm trying to ruin things. I'm trying to hey everyone over here. He's yeah. Fly to New Zealand, bring him here, and then deport him.
That's the idea. Actually, I'm a bit worried. I am a bit worried about coming to New York for the opening in July, isn't it? March, April. I think April.
End of March, Dad.
I said that. I sent an email to her, but she says they're actually opening. Maybe it's previewing in March.
Yes.
The opening night's the next month, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's like April 6th or something.
But April 6th. I think you're right. But I'm not sure that I'd be welcome in the US. You see, I'm a bit worried.
Well, I'm not sure. I think it's different. I feel that still filmmakers, etc. And plus, anyone at TSA is going to be like, Rocky Horror, and they'll just push you right through. So it'll be fine.
Well, the thing is, it is in New York, and I can I don't have to stop in LA anymore. We could come from Auckland straight into New York, and now New York with that wonderful mayor that they've got. Well, the hope of that wonderful mayor, that was wonderful. Those elections were so uplifting. It was so uplifting.
It was wild because not only the entire country, which I was happy about, and then on TikTok I saw, and my partner, primary partner, Ada, actually now wife, all these things happen so quickly. They were watching it in London, and it really reminded us of this is a really important one. We've got to have this sign of something. Now, Linus, you're in LA, and how long have you been in LA?
I've been here since 2011.
Do you consider LA like your home? I'm not looking for exact plans, but or would you consider
I don't know.
living elsewhere?
If I could move to the Bay Area, if I'm going to stay in America, I'd probably like to move up to the Bay Area. But it's a good place to be for my career.
Yeah.
My son is about to graduate high school. So
congratulations.
Yeah, so it's a fine base. It's definitely not the place I want to retire, that's for sure. We'll see what happens. You make what is that the saying, Dad? You make plans and life gets in the way or something?
It was John Lennon, wasn't it? Life is what happens while you were making other plans.
Yeah. Exactly. So for now I'm here. And then, if I can move up to the Bay Area, there's a place actually in the Bay Area called Linus. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
There's this place called just up from Berkeley on the coast. There's this place called Stinson Beach, and then just past Stinson Beach, there's this place called Linus. Everyone's very left wing there, and they take all the signs to Linus off the road, so that you wouldn't just happen upon it.
You have to know.
You wouldn't find your way there exactly. So yeah, it's a very, very
sounds like a cult to me.
yeah. Well, yeah, we're familiar with those, aren't we, Dan?
Craig, have you heard of this place? It's very welcoming. You should come have some meals, read some literature. It's just very.
But despite the cultish vibes,
do you want an orange juice?
Very some Kool-Aid, perhaps.
Just relax. We got pillows, lots of pillows. Just sit down.
So that would be, my friends have a little summer place up there which I like to visit. So that's probably where I'd like to be.
My friends, large friends, we're called the Friends. How often do you two get to spend time together?
Like once a year, maybe. Yeah, at least I think it pans out to about once a year, which is nice.
Well, yes, lately because the film brought you back and forward, didn't it?
Yeah, we came twice for the film, and then came for the documentary festival in Auckland, and then I'd probably go back for the statue unveiling again, because the statue got put into storage while they did renovations, and so it's coming back out. They built a new
theatre. That's what they've done. It's going to went out the way.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So much as we talked about with Meatloaf's type, right? In the film, we talk about Peter Hinwood, and this is something that has been in the books and everything. Everyone knew Peter Hinwood wasn't an actor, was a little shy. But then in the context of the documentary, again, much as you said with Brad and Janet, in a room full of Transylvanians, they're the freaks, Peter had an insecurity about how he looked. And, one would think, how could you possibly have insecurity about how you look?
Yes, I think that's part of his charm, isn't it? He's a shy man, and isn't it delightful that someone that looks like that should be so modest in himself? He was a lovely human being. I didn't have as much to say to him. And I remember once he was in the car and we started talking about shoes, and he got very excited. He rather liked shoes, for some reason or other. And I thought, okay, I've got at least there's a topic. Mm-hmm. Just a nice, shy human being, more interested in the antique world, I think, than being he was just, as far as he was concerned, he was he just got picked up because he looked like that for photos, I think, is what happened. It wasn't a world he wanted to go into. He wasn't like, everybody else on the planet these days.
Right. There have been changing mores over the years. You mentioned it with hair, or how a piece is seen. Now, I'm quite dismayed when I've seen a couple of things related to perhaps, Richard, something you'd said on a topic that was thrown at you in a general salad of news topics, and then a soundbite was run with. And I always think there should be grace for people who are not just our elders, if you pardon me, Richard, but also the pioneers for all of us, the ones who did work that opened doors, minds, and our own hearts and self-acceptance, that perhaps you don't have the exact nomenclature exactly like it's supposed to be this week or perhaps next week.
Yes, it's. I think I've said this to I think for every creative artist, no matter what discipline you're involved with, finding your own voice is what we all. It's not the most important thing, but yes, it is. Getting it right is the important thing. There's no art without craft, but finding your own voice is it, isn't it? And I think what I've done, because I'm not an intellectual, I'm not a clever clogs, and what I've done is be true to myself and write what I can without being pretentious, without being sued in any kind of way, but to try to write as honestly as, because I'm telling a story. I'm a storyteller more than anything else if I'm doing that, and making it whole is the beginning, middle, and end has to be there for me. That's why I'm disappointed in Shock Treatment. I like shape and form. There's no beauty without harmony, is what is my latest kind of thing that I keep saying to everybody, because people show you their paintings. They call it art. And it's a painting. They call themselves an artist. They're a painter. How dare they do this? Because it's unfair to us, because we're not allowed to gauge it, because it's art. No, it's not. It's a painting. How well done is it? How ticks and boxes here? Is the draftsmanship is good? Is it all that kind of stuff? That's all I can say, really. I got lucky with Rocky, because I didn't come from. I hadn't learnt how to do it, to write a musical. I hadn't been in that world. I've been an actor and trying to do the rest of it, and loved the musicals and all that, but I hadn't. I didn't know how to write one, but all I could do was write this. And does it work? Yes.
Seems to, anyway. I think also what I wanted to telegraph is my I think resentment of people trying to say, is Rocky transphobic or anti-gay and all this stuff, and I'm just constantly shocked by that, because it seems people wanting to find something to take issue with, and the thing they want to take issue with is something that has done such vast amounts of good for people and has been nourishing and inspiring, and Anyway, I just wanted to say that, because I think...
Yes, I agree. You're right to disagree with them. I have two words for somebody like that, and the second one's off.
So, listeners, viewers, you write in, you let us know what you think it is, and then we'll review. Now, before we wrap up, I wanted to ask a few questions about a couple other projects, and then something with you, Linus, about the film making. TZ, I can't find any script. I can't find anything other than a booklet or like a program. And I know Paul Nicholas was in it. He wrote about it in his book, and it sounded like a fabulous undertaking. And I was curious if you recall making any kind of either demo recording or cast recording of that.
I think we did. I think we did. I don't know where the hell it might be, of course, because it was back in those days. It's probably on a cassette.
Yes.
TZ was interesting, because Michael White said to me, got any other ideas for a musical? I said, a Tarzan musical, what about? And he went, Tarzan musical? Oh, okay. A Tarzan musical, yes, okay. So he said, I'll have to get in touch with Tarzana Estate, it's like Edgar Rice Burroughs. Oh, but of course, absolutely, that has to be done. And they came
I was
back,
just chuckling at the Tarzan Estate. Like, there's things in show business sometimes that it's just, got to get in touch with the Tarzan Estate. It's just a funny thing.
I know. But the word came back that yes, but they'd like to actually two caveats. One, he wasn't allowed to be black, and two, he wasn't allowed to be gay.
Wow.
And I went, I think we should make them both, don't you? I think we should. But we didn't. But it was we did what we did. It was a silly piece, once again, to entertain, as far as I can.
How dare you? That's a terrible thing to want to do.
I know. And it was just, it closed. It obviously wasn't going to go anywhere, but it wouldn't have been allowed. The Tarzan estate wouldn't have allowed it to go any further than its original run. They were very hot on that. They guard that estate very closely. There's still another egg left in the chicken's ass. What was it? The goose? It's a goose, wasn't it?
That's a good expression.
It's a goose.
I have not heard that before. Is that like a New Zealandism that has not traversed over here?
I just changed the name of the bird. I got the wrong bird, mate.
Well, I'll use both and give you credit.
It's still been a goose.
I'll put it on the poster. Now, the other one I'm curious about is disaster, because I precious little information I can find about that.
I saw
that was a musical based on all those disaster movies that were going on at the time. Two icebergs were going to crash in the North Atlantic and send a tidal wave right across the Caribbean and wipe out the eastern seaboard of America. A journalist is it was just a silly bit of nonsense. It's in the Devil's Triangle as well, of course. You see, the devil turns up in it as well as an instigator, I suppose. It was very funny. I thought
it took place at the ICA in
yes.
London. And
right on the mall that leads up to Buckingham Palace. It was a prestigious kind of a venue, arts venue.
Jonathan Adams
got dreadful reviews. But once again, I get to entertain, for crying out loud.
But I think that probably had something to do with you led them on with the title of the play.
Yes, I know, but I had to, didn't I? I couldn't call it. I had to be brave, didn't I?
Yes, of course.
And when I said it's going to be called Disaster, my agent said, then you have to put your name above the title, because otherwise, it is Richard O'Brien's Disaster. You have
to own it.
You have to be brave.
Yeah.
The theater critics were like, "This is great. I only have to. I got to add 3 words for. I don't even have to go."
I wouldn't mind seeing it revised. Actually, I really wouldn't mind seeing that revised. Probably needs a bit of a tweak here and there, but it's a terribly funny piece. I think there's a gay romance that goes on stage as well. No, it's a very funny piece. I think a little incest might have been added into it somewhere as well. I'm not sure.
And again, with that, I have if not a full cast recording, I'm sure there are demos about somewhere.
So sorry, Craig. I have to.
Oh, we got to run.
If you have one question, I can do that, but then I have to go.
Okay, sure. I guess because I was going to ask about Captain Invincible, but
please, you can do that after I go.
Oh, okay, cool. I very much appreciate your indulging my questions about non-Rocky material.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. And Linus, same here. Well, first off, thank you so much for making this film. It really is, to me, the perfect documentary for fans and lovers of the film. Like, behind the music, great. This is from a perspective of someone who cares, loves, and also the interviews you have with Nell and everyone else, they're different than any other kind because of the connection. How fulfilling was making this project?
I mean, it was incredibly fulfilling, just creatively, but also working with the people I did was one of the best experiences of my life. Working with my creative partner Avner Shaloa, my producers Adam Gibbs and Garrett Price and Lo Fahey, like basically the whole team who made this documentary made it such a rich experience from beginning to end. And I'll be eternally grateful for them for giving me the opportunity. And I think that, for the most part, we delivered. So, when you have a group of people who are all working towards a singular goal, and you manage to kind of at least meet your expectations, or maybe even go beyond them, you should be incredibly thankful. And I am. It's been an absolute dream come true, basically.
Well, wonderful. And thank you again. And also, I look forward to the next effort that you do, because I have the sense that based on this and your involvement with the Muhammad Ali thing, that you're going to be making
I've got a couple of projects that I'm working on now, and I hope we can get some money together to make them.
Fantastic. Well,
awesome. Lovely to meet you, Craig. Have a great conversation, you two.
Thank you so much.
Right. Bye, Dad.
We'll do the best we can.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, darling boy.
We'll muddle through somehow. So thank you, Richard.
Absolutely.
Would you mind telling me about your involvement with Captain Invincible?
It was interesting. Richard Hartley and I knew the manager of an Australian group called Air Supply, and Air Supply was supposed to do the songs, and they had the script, and they had the holes in the script where the songs were supposed to go. And they came to Richard Hartley and I turned around to Richard and I said, they're quite wise to come to us because the script's here and I'll know, we'll both know, and I know how to do it. So I can join that bit of script where it cuts off there to this bit of script where it picks up. I can fill the hole. I can make it join, you see. So that wasn't that clever of them to come to us, I said. So I wrote the songs and the lyrics, and I put a little bit of description in the column beside it, to tell the producer, the director, how this knits together. Mm-hmm. It's not imperative, but this is how it knits together. And when Richard got out there with the songs to record the voices in Australia and put it together, I didn't go out because I'm just a lyricist. The director said to him, "Why has Richard O'Brien written this in the side of the songs here?" He said, "Well, just to give you an idea of where how it works." He said, I don't need him to give me information on how to direct my movie." And so he wiped these pieces, you see, this information. And then when they were in recording in the studio, the director came up to Richard and said, "So how does the song work?" And he said, "Well, I don't know." He said, "I know musically, but you've got that." He said, "No, I've wiped it." And he said, "You see, that the thing is that Captain Invincible was an alcoholic. That was his Achilles heel. And that last song was supposed to be shot like the most wonderful bar advert you've ever seen in your life. Every drink was to make the audience dribble with desire to drink it, pushed it closer, temptation coming at him. Each drink a further temptation. Might I say that I'm old-fashioned? And he decided to dress them up with what the fuck was that about? What a shame! If you want to see Christopher singing it nicely, it's on YouTube. He's on German television somewhere, and he's sitting in front of a bar singing this song, and it makes much more sense. It was silly of him. It was psychic of him. It was silly of him because it could have been a wonderful movie. I read the script. It was terribly funny script, and a terribly funny script, and the whole premise is funny, isn't it? Bring him back. That song that you liked so much is a songwriter's kind of like, phew, thank God for that. It's what we call a laundry list song, and it's these are a few of my favorite things. Laundry lists,
right.
Windmills of Your Mind, laundry list song.
Yeah.
And what I had to do when I wrote that song was I went straight to my drinks cabinet and took out the cocktail book and employed my wit and expertise to get rhymes off the cocktails.
Yeah, that's one of the things I loved about it is some of the drinks I hadn't heard of before, and then some of them I thought that's an incredible rhyme, and it's very much the what is it, California Girls thing, or the back in the USSR, the list of the laundry list, as you said. Yeah,
a laundry list.
Anything in particular that you'd like to share about the development of Rocky Shows His Heels, and if I'm correct, Revenge of the Old Queen, if I have that name correct?
Well, Rocky Shows His Heels was supposed to be what Shockriman became. Breaking Up was fairly near the beginning of the show, when Rocky was sung by Rocky as he pulls Frank's inner body from the rubble beneath the house and so on. I turned the first script in to Michael White and John Goldstone, and they thought it was terribly good, or good enough to go on with.
Is that a Virgin Guinness that you're having?
It is. It is a Guinness. It's not a Virgin Guinness though. I could write a poem to a Guinness. It was fascinating, because we just gave up on that idea. Other than that, there's nothing to say really. It is what it was, and monsters rising from the grave, literally. Janet was pregnant, and we didn't know whose baby it was, whether it was Brad's, whether it was Rocky's, or whether it was Frank's, and that was going on, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, it became something else. As for what was the other one you were talking about?
The Revenge of the Old Queen.
Revenge of the Old Queen was Lou Adrose and I were at Fox one day, and they were thinking about doing a Rocky TV something or other series, or how it might work. And I said, well, one thing we could do is we could have a little serial running, couldn't we? A segment serial of riff-raff up on the planet, and the Queen says to him, where's my son? And he can't turn around to her and say, I've killed him. And she sends him back. And so he goes back through to the Earth, and he goes back through time, trying to correct but it was all about riff-raff, you see. So that's what I'm thinking. I was thinking, why don't I give myself a job at the same time? Bring riff back. So I'm selling the room that's making it up, actually, on the spur of the moment. And I look up and I said, "Where's Lou?" And they said he's gone to see the head of the Fox. He doesn't want to do this on television. He wants to make a movie of it. And I said, "But okay." And then he came back and he said, I've forgotten the name of the head of the Fox at that time. And I went in. He was a guy that...
was it Alan Ladd?
No, left after Alan Ladd. After Alan Ladd. He's a guy that had his eyebrows down and looked at you through closed eyes all the time. And I'd been riffing the first time, making up on the spot, you see, thinking, amusing myself at the same time. And then, now I've got to tell the same story again that I just made up 5 seconds ago. And of course it's not as exciting, is it? When you're riffing, it's different, isn't it? So anyway, they gave me some seed money and sent me home to write a first draft, which was all about riff, and that was it really. It was just a tale of a chase really. Mm-hmm. The Holiday Inns would have suffered greatly. In fact, I probably would have, because I gave one room, a number room in any Holiday Inn in the world, In the showers, there's a tile in the shower you can press, and it reveals another kind of world and things to you, opportunities.
Great product placement. You know what I mean? They could have offset the recording cost.
Yes, a lot of bathrooms going to get disturbed.
Yeah, that's true. The fans can sometimes be a little intense in pushing that tile. Yeah, and I'm sure that there's attendant music to that. I'm looking forward to someday having a huge collection of your demo stuff released someday, because I think it would really warm the hearts, minds, and possibly pockets or pants of the listeners.
Oh, you're a delight to talk to. I'm going to take my Guinness out onto the front porch in a second. I'm doing a bit some doodling at the moment.
Yes, yeah. No, I appreciate the extra time as well to talk about this.
No, it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Richard. My love to you, and thank you again for all the work that's meant so much to me and means so much to me.
Thank you, Craig. You're a darling man.
You are as well.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.